Picture Annie Duke not as a philosopher or philosopher in training, but in the thick of a poker game in Vegas, cards in hand, stakes high, and that heart-pounding moment when one decision can make or break the whole night. But here's the kicker, she's not just playing cards, she's playing decisions. What if every big choice you face is less about luck and more about mastering the science of deciding well? Let's crack that code. Most of us picture decisions like instant light bulbs, sudden, clear, binary, but Annie flips the script. Decision-making isn't a moment, it's a process full of fuzzy shades, probabilities, and unknowns. Back in a Denver poker room, Annie explains how thinking in bets changed her game. Instead of "did I make the right move?" she learned to ask, "how strong was my bet given what I knew?" It's about weighing probabilities, not chasing perfect answers. Imagine your brain as a cockpit in a turbulent storm. Biases like overconfidence or confirmation bias are the fog and wind shaking your controls. Annie's metaphor is simple. You don't dump the cockpit, you install better instruments to pilot through the clouds. The surprising insight: confidence doesn't come from knowing but from believing you can update. When you expect doubt and see it as info, your decisions become sharper, and second-guessing fades like a bad poker hand. Here's where most people get stuck, overwhelmed by endless data and options. Annie teaches how to carve a clear decision map, cutting through the noise to zoom in on what actually matters. At a Silicon Valley startup pitch, Annie watched founders drowning in feedback. She helped them frame decisions by asking, "If this were poker, what pot are you competing for?" Suddenly, the messy inputs condensed into what really impacted the bottom line. Think of stakes like a seesaw. If the potential loss is a steel anvil but the gain is a feather, your choice weighs heavily toward caution. Annie's analogy: don't focus on every feather, identify if an anvil is hanging over your head. Imagine setting a GPS before jogging through a dense forest. Annie advises setting decision rules up front, like if X happens, then Y action follows, so when chaos erupts, you're not stuck spinning but following a clear trail. Here's a secret Annie learned at the poker table and baked into every decision: losses aren't failures, they're raw data. But only if you actually mine the lessons. In one nerve-wracking World Series of Poker event, Annie saw a player obsess over a loss, blaming luck. The real villain was hindsight bias, the brain's nasty habit of rewriting history to make losses obvious and oneself stupid. Recognizing this saves your sanity and sharpens future moves. Annie's genius move: she advocates reverse engineering. Rather than "did this outcome suck?" ask, "was my decision process sound given what I knew?" This flips results from a verdict to data for smarter bets next time. Imagine applauding a chess player who made all the right moves but got unlucky with a crazy opponent's gambit. Annie calls this celebrating the good process, bad outcome, because it's process mastery that leads to consistent wins, not just outcome luck. Back at that Vegas table, Annie isn't gambling on luck, she's executing a flexible, tested decision strategy born from science and real-world lessons. The takeaway: stop chasing certainty. Next time you face a tough call, try slotting it into a bet, weigh your real stakes, and then learn fiercely from every result. Turns out, making better decisions isn't magic, it's a skill you can build starting now. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.